Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, one of the goals that I have with this channel is to break that stigma that people have with frugality, because so many people say, I'd like to be frugal, but I want to have a life. You know, people have a very narrow view of what frugality is. People think that in order to be frugal, you have to stop going to coffee shops, stop going to restaurants with friends, and move into a tiny house. But this is not what frugality is. You can still live a balanced life while being frugal. You could still interact with other human beings, get a haircut by a human being, and even go to the disco. You can live a balanced life while being frugal. You just have to open your mind a little bit on what frugality is. You need to ditch that very narrow definition that frugality is a life of deprivation and come up with a new definition. So in this video, I want to help you construct a new definition of frugality, a more personalized definition. And to do this, I want to compare frugality with the gym. Because they're actually very similar. The experience of going to the gym is almost identical to the experience of becoming and staying frugal. So in this video, I want to walk you through how to master the gym of frugality one step at a time, with 5 steps to mastering the gym of frugality. Step 1. The hardest part of the gym is walking through the door. The hardest part of frugality is breaking the stigma. One day I was talking to my grandpa about going to the gym. His name is Papa. And he was telling me that the hardest part of going to the gym is walking through the door. The hardest part of the gym is not the physical activity part, but the hardest part is putting on your gym clothes, getting in your car, and then sitting in the parking lot thinking, I do not want to do this. Most people spend more time dreading going to the gym than actually working out. And this is because the gym has this big stigma that it's a miserable place where you will feel judged. But once you walk through the door, it's not that bad. You've done the hardest part. And this is the same with frugality, because the hardest part of frugality is breaking the stigma. Frugality has this stigma that's often exaggerated on social media of not having a social life, giving up the things you enjoy, and looking like a weirdo. But you need to break away from that stigma, because that's not frugality. Let me establish the definition. Frugality is making intentional decisions every day to cut wasteful spending and use money to bring value in your life. If you like your lattes, you can keep your lattes. If you like your friends, you can keep your friends. If you can just break away from that stigma, the rest is going to be so easy. In the real gym, the hardest part is just walking through the door. In the gym of frugality, the hardest part is just breaking from that stigma, breaking away from that very narrow definition that it's this life of deprivation. And once you break away from that stigma, you can actually make some positive changes in your life. So now let's go a little bit deeper and talk about how to go about frugality. Step 2. There's no one way to go about the gym, and there's no one way to go about frugality. Now I want you to think about the answers to these questions and feel free to respond in the comments. But why do people go to the gym? What's the correct way to work out? Is it because everybody wants to be a bodybuilder and so they lift till they fail? No, there's no one reason people go to the gym, and there's no correct way to exercise. People go to the gym for different reasons and choose to do different exercises based on their goals. For example, an old person might do water aerobics to stay active. An overweight person might walk on the treadmill to lose weight. A buff guy might lift heavy weights to be a bodybuilder. So you have all these different people going to one single place, but they're all going about it differently based on their goals. And this is the exact same with frugality. People make different decisions to be frugal based on their goals. For example, a single mother might stop going to the drive-thru to better provide for her kids. A married couple might downsize their house to be more financially prepared for kids. A weird guy in his 20s might aggressively save for 2 years to build a YouTube channel to talk about frugality. They're all being frugal, but they're all doing it in different ways. And they're doing it in different ways because their lives are different. The biggest misconception about frugality is that it's one single thing. But there's no right way to be frugal, and there's no wrong way. There's no better way, or there's no worse way. You cater it towards your own life goals. In the real gym, not everyone wants to become a bodybuilder. Some people just want to go to stay active. And in the gym of frugality, not everybody wants to move to a tiny house. You have to come up with your own frugal exercise plan to achieve the goals in your life, because we are all in different life situations. And because there's no one-size-fits-all plan for frugality, let's talk about how to create a balance. Step 3. If you dread the gym, you won't last long. And if you create a lifestyle of deprivation, you won't last long. If you're a regular at the gym, you'll know that the months of January and February are much busier because you have all these people with these New Year's resolutions that try to go from couch potato to Olympic athlete overnight. They go from one extreme to the other, and a month later, they end up dreading the whole experience, so they go back to their couch potato life. But the key to making anything sustainable is creating a balance where you don't end up dreading the whole experience. For example, my gym plan is gym days of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and sometimes Friday, an occasional week off, and limit time to 1 hour per session. And because I have established this balance, I never dread going to the gym. I'm very consistent, and it's led to this rockin' bod. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry if that made anybody feel uncomfortable. But this is the exact same with being frugal. You have to establish a balance. You can't just go from a highly materialistic life to a no-buy year because you'll end up failing. You have to first identify the things that bring value in your life and keep those. For me, that means give myself 1 to 2 times a week to eat out, and go to a coffee shop to work 2 times a week, and take trips with friends. Then I identify my habits that are just pure waste and lower or cut out those expenses. So for me, that means limit online shopping. Don't get food out because I'm lazy, and don't keep up with technology upgrades. Basically, to create a plan, you intentionally identify the things that bring value in your life and keep those. Then you identify the waste that doesn't bring value to your life and cut those out. You're creating this long-lasting plan that doesn't lead to this life of deprivation that you end up dreading every part about it. And in the real gym, you have to create a plan where you're not dreading the experience and then burn out very quickly. And in the gym of frugality, you have to create a plan. And to do this, you have to first identify the things that bring value in your life and keep those, and then identify the things that are just wasteful spending and cut out those things so you don't live this life of extremes, and your plan is long lasting where you're not dreading it. Now, although you have a plan, that brings me to my next step. Step 4, your body will change over time, and your definition of frugality will change over time. Since I've started making videos, I spend a lot of time looking at myself because I'm constantly filming videos, editing videos, and making thumbnails, so I'm more aware of my appearance now more than ever. And when I look at a picture of me 10 years ago compared to now, I realize how much my body has changed. I mean, watch this. Life has hit me. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 years ago, I was just skin and bones. But now, I can actually put on weight. When I go to the gym, I can put on muscle. But 10 years from now, my body will look very different than it does now because things change over time. And so the way I treat my body and how I exercise will change. And this is the exact same with frugality. Over time, you will change, your goals will change, your wants will change, your needs will change, and so your definition of frugality will change. Maybe between 18 to 25, frugality would mean penny pinching to travel the world. From 26 to 35, frugality might mean not upgrading quickly to take risks. From 35 to 55, frugality can mean making tiny decisions to spend more time with kids. From the ages of 55 to 90, frugality could mean maintaining money to stay retired. There's no fixed, permanent definition of frugality because frugality is ever evolving. You will change over time. Your goals will change over time. Your standards will change over time. So you can't have one definition of frugality your entire life, but you have to adjust it based on your life circumstances. In the real gym, you adjust your exercise routine as you age. And in the gym of frugality, you adjust your definition of frugality based on what phase of life you're in. And when you have that ever-evolving definition of frugality, you have mastered the gym of frugality, and we can finally move on to the final step. Step 5. Once you leave the gym, you are always happy you did it. And once you make frugal decisions, you're always happy you did it. There are days where I'm extremely ambitious to go to the gym, and there are other days where I'm not as ambitious. But every time that I leave the gym, I have the exact same feeling. I'm happy I did it. There's never been a moment where I've left and I've just thought, I really wish I didn't work out, because I know I did something good for my body, and I have this sense of accomplishment of working out. Even if you do something just as basic as walking on a treadmill, it can only be beneficial to you. And this is the exact same with frugality. Once you break away from that stigma, the hardest part, and you choose to be frugal, you realize that it can only benefit you, and you're happy you did it because it made your life better. And when you create this ever-evolving relationship with frugality, you have created this life that is just so full of balance. But it's important to remember, above all, to never skip leg day. And for this video, I wanted to thank La Jovencita for emailing me that gave me this idea for this video. Hi, Jordan. Muchas gracias. And with that, muchas gracias. Que tenga un buen día. Nos vemos, chico. Video 94.